Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Flame Entertainment and Sports. It's your boy Rob here. Hope everyone's doing good out there. Make sure to keep up with us on Instagram and TikTok at the flame_ES. So for the entertainment portion of today's episode, gonna bring on my sister Diana. We're gonna talk some Dancing with the Stars. We were able to see the live tour show here in Miami last Friday, so we're gonna get into that, and we're gonna take a look back at season 33. Gonna talk a little bit about some predictions for the upcoming season 34, and then at the end we'll answer some other random questions. But yeah, with all that said, Dee, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking the time today.
Happy to be here.
So like I said, we saw the tour show Friday here in Miami. It was a great show. I felt like every number was like really entertaining and good. But is there a dance from that night that was like more memorable than the others?
Yes, I'm trying to think. The show in general was really good. Oh, I think Daniela and Pasha's duet together, Tequimbara, was like my favorite one.
That was really good.
And it matched like the Miami vibe, so it was really good.
Once the music started playing, it was like, oh, Miami.
Yeah, honestly, anything Daniela was in was so good.
For sure. Yeah, Daniela, it's crazy in her, short time on the show. She has made such an impact, and she's been like so consistent from day one, which I feel is not usually the case. Usually it takes a couple of seasons for the pros to kind of get into their own and know how the show works and how you could like be successful. Mm-hmm. So Daniela's definitely like a rare case.
Yeah, I also really liked Riley and Alan's duet. Like when everyone puts their flashlight on, like I think it's like a waltz. I don't know what the actual style is, but it's so good.
But yeah, no, that was a cool moment, and yeah, you knew it from like TikTok. I didn't even know it, and they didn't announce it in the place set up. But everyone put their flashlights on the phone. That was super cool.
Yeah, Ezra like surprised her because it was like her favorite number on tour. So he like blocked her on TikTok and told everyone to do that at every show. So like the first show, she was super surprised.
That's super cool.
Everyone.
Nah, that's super cool. But yeah, it was cool. Ezra, he's like the rookie, right? That was on this season of the show, and this is his first tour as a pro, so that's pretty cool to see Ezra. Mm-hmm. But yeah, any other moments from the show that you would want to talk about, like from the tour?
I just think Brandon looked happier than ever to be dancing. He was just like happy the whole show, so I really liked his numbers too.
Nah, I agree. He was great, and yeah, there was like a glow, like an extra glow that he had, and also like you talked about Daniela already and Pasha, but I felt like Pasha too.
Yeah,
he was like really feeling.
Yeah.
When they called his name out, he like came out like super pumped up onto the stage, so that was funny to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to move past the tour if you want. So we have a couple of questions here regarding season 33. We saw Joey and Jenna win the mirror ball. But yeah, to start off, what were some of your favorite dances or some of your memorable dances that stand up in the last season?
So I have a top 3 from this season. My favorite one was Steven and Riley's freestyle. I just thought it was so good, like how it like blended his world with her world and like brought it together, like the gymnastics and the dance. So I really like that one. Just like I'm a big fan of Riley, so seeing her first freestyle was cool. I also think Brandon had like a really big shining season, and his jive in the finale, it could be the semifinals, but I think it was the finale. His jive with Chandler was so good. And then the other one that comes to mind is Danny Amendola and Whitney's contemporary that they dedicated to his coach that passed away. I thought it was a really good routine.
Those are awesome, like great ones for sure. Add in like another dance. I really loved, the Soul Train night dance from Jenna and Joey.
Jive.
That was like really because throughout the whole season, I didn't really have like a specific couple that I was like rooting for. I just was rooting for them all. And after that night, Joey and Jenna became the couple, I rooted for, so it's pretty cool. They ended up winning.
Another one that just came to my mind is Dwight and Daniela on the first night.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he like carried her up, and it was like I think it was the salsa that night. It was so cute.
That was really cool. Yeah. And it kind of gave, some flashbacks to like her and Iman. Obviously, Dwight's even taller, which is insane.
Yeah.
Iman's really tall, but that was definitely a cool moment. I remember it went super viral all over the internet.
I love that one.
For sure. So another question here for season 33. Like, to you, who was like, you can name one couple or multiple, but like, what couple was like underrated in your opinion?
I want to say Whitney and Danny were probably the most underrated to me. I think they improved. They definitely improved like a lot from the beginning, but I just think they weren't like looked at as much as like obviously like Alone and Alan. Like they were great, but I just think they didn't get the attention they deserved sometimes.
I actually agree with that. I'm gonna go with them too, with Whitney and Danny. Um, yeah, I felt like they're one of the most consistent couples throughout the whole show. Like obviously, they had their off weeks like everyone else, but I felt like the ending result they didn't like do them justice, I thought, for the work that they put out.
Yeah, I agree.
I do know too though, like as much as I like them, I feel like maybe that freestyle, right, the whole Barbie and Ken thing, it was cool from like an entertainment aspect, but maybe not that I thought they would, even if it was better, I don't think they would have won the show. But I just felt like that number, for some reason, it was cool to see them in character.
But not like a good ending. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like lacking something of dance,
I think maybe if she would have done like a cool football theme to mix it in, would have been like really cool.
That's true. Adding that element like that people know her from.
Yeah.
And then the final one here, so to stick with the finale. Did you agree with like the final result of Joey and Jenna becoming the new champions?
Yeah, like 1,000%.
Let's go. Me too.
They were great all season.
I agree. I thought they're, arguably, yeah, they're probably the most consistent couple. Maybe some people could say too, like Chandler and Brandon, in that conversation. They're amazing too. But yeah, I felt like it was a great ending. It was I thought it was one of those endings that wasn't really controversial. I know a lot of seasons there's been, couples that stand up that like end up, leaving like super early or they don't win the mirror ball. But I felt like this one like ended great. And even if Chandler and Brandon would have won it, I would have understood too.
Yeah, pretty much all of those in those final four. But I just think between Chandler and Brandon and Joey and Jenna, they were like the top two couples all season. Like even looking back at Joey's night one, with like it was the country song.
Yeah, the country. Yeah. I forgot the song, but I know the dance.
But it was amazing.
Yeah.
Like from night one, they were great.
Yes.
And they opened the show. I think they opened the whole season.
Yeah, they opened the whole season. They set the standard basically.
Yeah, and then also Brandon and Chandler's freestyle was absolutely insane. Yeah. So that was great too.
No, for sure. But yeah, now we'll move on to the future, right? To season 34. It'll be coming out in September as always. But yeah, I want to see if both of us could do some predictions, for the upcoming season. So the first one, I'll let you start. Do you think there will be a pro, right, from season 33 that will not return?
Sasha.
Okay, I actually, yeah, if I had to pick one, I would say Sasha. Yeah, because for those of you that don't know, for season 33, he wasn't originally casted. And then at the last minute, they put Jen, the Bachelorette, they put her on. So, it's kind of a last minute type of thing. And yeah, I agree. Like, if I had to pick any of them, like, I'm a Sasha fan, but yeah, I feel like his time may be, ending on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, see another one here. Do you think there'll be a new pro? Like I mentioned earlier, we had Ezra as a new pro last season. Do you think we'll have a new pro or not? Not again.
I don't think we'll have one this season. I think it'll be cool, but I just don't think so. I also think even adding in Sasha, they were saying they were like kind of over the numbers.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll add someone in unless they take someone out, but I don't know who else they would take out.
That's a great point. Yeah, they did go over like the usual number of couples that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they want to change that up and go back to what they usually do. Yeah, I'll say I don't think this season, but I'll say maybe season 35. I'll make a prediction now. I'm gonna say there'll be multiple rookies in season 35. I feel like some of the people have been on for 10 years or however long it's been. At the end of the day, everyone gets like older. Certain people maybe want to move on to different career paths. So I feel like season 34 might be maybe the farewell maybe to some of your favorite pros. I wouldn't be shocked. And maybe season 35, you'll see like the same familiar faces, but with like I feel like some new people in there.
Yeah, and even if it's like not a farewell, I do know like some of them like Daniela may want to have more kids, Jenna too, Whitney for sure. Like obviously Lindsay Arnold's on the show, but she talks about wanting 4 kids. Like they all want to have babies too, and Britt's getting married now, so I don't know. Like maybe that could be part of it too.
That's true too. Yeah, it doesn't have to be like they're done forever, but yeah, just like how Whitney, she just came back.
Jenna and Daniela took a season off.
Yeah, yeah, it's normal. Peter did it at one point.
Yeah.
Then it makes a lot of sense actually. But okay, let's see the next question I had here. Okay, do you think there'll be a pro who will finish their career in season 34? And I mean, like as a dancer, like maybe they'll stay on, part of the franchise or in the audience or
Yeah.
judging, whatever it may be. But as like a dancer,
There's 3 that come to my head, but I don't know if it'd be this season, but probably soon. Right now in my head, I'm thinking Emma, but like I don't think she'll leave the show. I think she'll maybe co-host or like do something. I think Val still has it, but he definitely is getting towards the end of his career. Like if he's following Max and Mark and like Derek's footsteps, and then also not next season, but coming soon. I think Gleb will see like a difference with him too.
I think those are all great like candidates, I guess you could call it. Like, yeah, you brought up Emma the other day, and I hadn't really thought about it. I didn't realize how long she's really been on the show because like time flies. But no, it's funny with Emma. Yeah, it's kind of related, I guess. Yeah, to a question we have at the end, but I'll bring it up now. Like we all know she's been the host of the tour now for the last couple of years. This past season she did a couple of episodes, I think, that her and Ezra would like go live. I think during the commercial breaks. So here's like a question. So let's say Emma, right? Whenever she does finish dancing, do you think she'll transition into like one of the hosts on the show, or do you think perhaps they could create a new position where she does like the backstage stuff during the commercials, but like as a permanent gig?
Yeah, I think they could definitely do that with her, especially if it's sooner. Um, Depending on the host, like I don't know how long they're on contract for, but if she does decide to stop dancing, but I think they'll make a role for her regardless. Like I don't think they're getting rid of her at all.
Not for sure. I think she's like a big part of the franchise, like beyond even dancing, because how impactful too. Like she's been like towards her fans and super friendly, but also she's been so good as a host. She has like a great personality and all that. So it'll be exciting to see like when she does finish dancing. So now to get into like some judges talk. Do you think we'll have the same judges, right? Bruno, Carrie Ann, and Derek. Do you think there'll be a fourth judge added, or do you think one of the judges will be replaced, basically?
I did during the season, but now that the heat is kind of off of them, I can't really see it. I do see them maybe adding someone. I think Mark was a great addition this year. But also I don't think they'll do 3 men and 1 woman. So I think they'll try to make it even. Kind of depends. I think Sharna, since they did bring her back, it's kind of telling that they still have a good relationship with her. So maybe she's a good option, and she also did all those critiques and judging on her TikTok all season long. So I think that was like an audition for her too. So I think if they were to bring someone, it'd be like if it's a man, I think it's Mark. But if it's a woman, I think it would be Sharna. And is this who I think it is, or who I would think would be a good idea?
Oh, you could name that one too. You could do it like who you think and who if you prefer someone else.
I don't think this will happen because he's very controversial, but I think Max would be like a great asset to the show. Like, I think he'll bring like Len vibes, which is good. Like, he's just very honest, blunt. He doesn't like really care what people think, but he's very honest and he knows the technique, he knows the fundamentals. So I think he'll be a good judge.
Yeah, I actually really like that. You're right though. Maybe like if he doesn't ever get that opportunity, it'll be because he's too controversial.
Yeah, but like they do it on YouTube, him and Peta. Like they judge all the dances, and like you can tell Peta is still like politically correct. She's like talks nice and stuff, but like he goes and says whatever he wants to say.
Yeah, whatever comes out.
Yeah.
I agree. I do think though that he'd be like a really good judge. I feel too that he's so like he's one of these people that his passion for the show and dancing goes beyond him.
Yeah.
I think he just like loves it so much, the show, that he'll, even if he's like he sounds mean or harsh, like he'll do it from his heart. That's
exactly
what I think.
How like Len was kind of like, I don't want to compare anyone to Len, but like that's kind of like the same bluntness and honestness you'll get, I think, from Max, in my opinion.
That's a great one, and like they are like super, similar personalities, Len and Max, and
that's why they clashed a lot.
for literally, they had so many moments where they're like pissed off, but like it's because they're like similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, judging wise, I agree with you. We talked about it recently. Like during the season, I was like, oh, not for sure. Carrie Ann's gonna be gone. maybe Bruno, but everyone's out for sure. Carrie Ann, she's annoying. She's not making sense. Her whole thing was like she would give random couples like tens, and then Chandler, she would criticize her. And she was like the best dancer in the show. So uh, it's just crazy how time goes on. They haven't been in the headlines. I would say purposely. Like I think it's a smart strategy from the show. If they don't just want to get rid of Carrie Ann, she's been there from the beginning. So yeah, I do agree with you that at this point, I think it's going to be the same panel. I like the Shriner predictions that get really going. So yeah, I think the Shriner predictions are going. I know another controversial person like Cheryl Burke. Like some people either love her or hate her. Kind of like honestly the same as Max. I loved Cheryl's podcast. She just ended it recently, but I enjoyed it. Like hearing her thoughts on other couples throughout the season. But I do understand if she doesn't ever get the role because a lot of people are like turned off by her, and she said some comments since leaving the show that have kind of put the franchise in a negative light. But then she also talks about how much she loves it. So I get it. She's another controversial person, but I wouldn't mind one day if she is on that panel. 'Cause I think she is kind of like Max too. I do think she really loves the show, and I think some of the comments she said a couple of years ago, I think she was just kind of like frustrated or in her head about not getting back on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what would you think about Cheryl?
No, she'd be a good pick. She knows a lot of like the techniques and stuff. Like I did listen to a few of her podcasts, so she'd be good too.
Okay, and Mark I think would be like the home run. Like I feel like if most fans had to pick one person to add on or whatever, it'd be Mark.
Yeah.
Even his short time last year, his one episode.
He was great.
Yeah, arguably he was like it was the best performance by a judge all season. Like I would put that up there because and it looked like he was like meant to do that. Like he was meant to be in like fill those shoes. And something about him that I love, he kind of has that side of Len where he's like super. What do you call it? Like he critiques like all the little things, all the little things within the dance. But then he has the way he delivers it is like in a super like respectful and encouraging way, not like a demanding or angry way. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Mark, like I want to see him on the judging panel one day, and especially to see him and Derek together. Their lifelong friendship, everything they've done together. I think that'd be super cool too.
Yeah, I agree. I think Mark would be great.
Not for sure. So now to move on to talk about the troupe. So we had a brand new troupe this past season. We had Stephanie, right, Ezra's sister, Kaylin, Marquette, and Roman, right? I thought they did a great job. I thought they're an entertaining troupe. They got more airtime than we had seen in a while from the troupe, which makes sense since the whole Disney Plus stuff. And I feel too there was a couple of seasons where we would see the troupe, but like we didn't really get to know them or like recognize their faces or want to like keep up with them right on social media. But I felt like they did a good job of that this year, of putting them more in our face and giving them more of a spotlight. But I was gonna say, do you think we'll get the same troupe, or do you think maybe some people stay, some people go? What do you think?
I think we'll get the same one. We might get, I feel like maybe 2 more people to add to it. I think it's also telling that Marquette and Kaylin were like the swings on tour, so like they obviously value them and want to keep that relationship with them. I do know Marquette's older and he has experience with a lot of the pros, so I think that's a good part with him. But I think for the most part they'll keep all of them. I think.
Honestly, I would like it because I thought they did a great job, like individually and as a whole. I thought it was a really good like season for the troupe. But yeah, I'm curious to see like you said you think they could add like 2 more people. I'd be curious to see if it'd be like 2 fresh faces we've never seen, or people from the past. Like I know D'Angelo was on the troupe here from Miami.
Sophia too from Miami.
Sophia too. I still like keep up with her, and I enjoyed watching this. Maybe they try to bring those 2 back. I think that'll be pretty cool. 2 Miami people there, but.
Or even some of like the Dancing with the Stars juniors people, like how they brought Riley, but like Haley Bills or like someone else that was on those seasons to like kind of people like seeing like the evolution of Riley since she was on juniors, and maybe they like kind of copy that if any of those are still dancing. Like I know for sure Haley, I don't remember any of the other names that much, but maybe one of them to bring up.
I agree. I'm so glad you brought her name up. I feel like she's gonna be like what Riley became. I think whenever Haley does come on the show, she's gonna be the same exact thing. you have like the similar storyline. Like she, another family member. Obviously, Riley and Lindsay are sisters. Haley is Jenna's niece. And yeah, I've always just had that feeling about Haley that she's just gonna be a star when she gets on the show. And yeah, right now she's dancing for BYU. That's pretty cool. And over there in Utah.
And she's been on tour with Derek Huff this whole season.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That's another freaking great point. Literally, the head judge, right, has her on tour. And yeah, and I think from the show too, like in terms of trying to get a new generation of fans and ratings and social media presence, they see what Riley brought to the show, and they're like, I'm sure they're like super excited. Like I'm sure they'll do anything to have Haley on as soon as possible, because I imagine Riley and Haley, and I could definitely see Haley going on that similar path of becoming an influencer at the same time, blowing up. They'll probably give her some romantic type of couple partner, like
Carrie and Riley.
Yeah, like the show loves that when you think about it, and it makes sense for ratings and people buy into like the whole couple stuff. So I'm so glad you brought up Haley. But now to move on to finish off some general questions here. So you can name multiple people if you want, but I wrote down here, name a dream contestant that you'd want to see compete on the show.
I don't know if it's like that I've always wanted this, but I've always wanted to see Tyler Cameron on the show.
Let's go.
I've always been a big fan of him. I don't know if he would do it at this point, but I've always wanted to see him on the show. I think he would be great. I know Joey was just with Jenna, but I think he would be great with Jenna. Yeah, that's pretty much the only partner I've seen him with. Maybe even Riley. Like, they'd be like a fun young couple.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Do you have any ideas? I'm trying to think of more.
You know what's crazy? So this guy, right, I'm gonna name him. Like, he's one of my favorite actors. He's on one of our favorite shows. Maybe in the past I've thought of him for the show, but for some reason today, he's been on my mind all day about being on the show. And I would love to see him, I think he'd be a great contestant. Chad Michael Murray. For some reason, he's in my head today. I feel like we could see him on the show sometime soon. And no, I'd be super happy. We love, One Tree Hill. Obviously, he's been part of a bunch of movies and shows, but, that's his main thing as Lucas Scott. I think that'll be so cool. And I feel like he has the personality and the vibe. Like, everyone would just, like, people, obviously, all the girls, everyone already loves him. But I feel like he has such a charming personality, super charismatic and stuff. I feel like he'll attract everyone's attention. Right? So, yeah, what would you think if you were ever to be on the show?
No, I think he would be great. I think he'd be like really likable first, like a Joey. He's like a sweetheart. Everyone likes him. I see him with like an Emma.
I was gonna say height wise and everything, right?
And like I feel like I remember when she was with Trevor Donovan.
Oh yeah.
Like the blondes. I don't know. I just see it.
Yeah, they could kind of go back to that storyline too.
Yeah. Oh, with what's his name? Troy Bolton's dad.
Oh yeah, Bart Johnson.
With Britt. I would like it.
That's right. Remember, I wanted that. Yeah, we talked about that for last season.
Right.
Oh man, you have a little High School Musical reunion. For people that don't know, Britt was like a background dancer, High School Musical. But yeah, that's a great one. I would love to see that. That'd be awesome.
I feel like an influencer too. Like, I know they have a lot of influencers, but like an Alex Hurrow or like Emily Kaiser, like someone big that has like a big TikTok following. I feel like they've had them, but this season, was there one?
Not like necessarily just a influencer, like specific, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think of like Charlie, right?
Charlie D'Amelio, yeah, but she was like super.
Yeah,
like,
she's
already a dancer.
Yeah, she's a dancer.
So it was hard. Like, maybe someone that's like less trained, but still like an influencer. Like, I think it'd be fun.
Nah, I'm so glad you brought up Alex. That's a name I wanted to talk about. Because, there's been huge rumors that she might be on season 34. She was in the audience for, what was it, the finale?
Yeah, for Ilona's dance.
For Ilona's dance. They went to her on camera, her family and everything. And, it would make all the sense in the world. Especially when you think of, like I talked about it with Riley. Like, the recent popularity now. The new generation of fans from TikTok and Instagram. And, I think it'll be super smart. And she would, honestly, like, she would go such a long way. I don't think that's like a crazy prediction. I think
for sure.
Right? Like, I think it'll be super cool to see her on the show.
Agreed.
And she also, I feel like, has such a great personality too. Like, she's super likable,
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see Alex on the show too.
Me too.
Okay, let's see. Okay, name. Okay, we talked. You talked about Britt and Bart Johnson, right? But I put name a dream pairing. I don't know if you have another. That one's maybe more like specific, you know. But,
Yeah.
Um,
Trying to think.
yeah, that one's more. I have a random one. First time I ever think of this. Val as the pro, with Hillary Duff. That just popped into my head. I'm actually shocked. Like thinking about it now, she hasn't been on the show yet. Especially at this point in her career.
Yeah.
And wow, I just thought of this. What if you put her and Chad Michael Murray right on the same season? Another Cinderella story, reunited,
Yeah.
and then all the fans, right? Will, oh man, we have to tune in.
Yeah, that's good.
Wow, I think that'll be really good.
You're gonna laugh at this one, but Daniela.
Okay.
With Goran Dragic.
Let's go. That'll be freaking amazing. I'll be so happy. Nah, if Goran got that opportunity.
I think that would be like so good.
That'll be awesome. And he's so similar to Pasha. I feel like
Right?
like personality wise, and he's always smiling. Like he's like the nice guy. Everyone likes him.
And I feel like they speak like the same language too.
That's true too.
Somehow. I don't know.
It would like benefit him in comparison to like another person who doesn't really speak a lot of languages.
Exactly.
Damn, I love that. Let's go. Okay, now so we have a couple final questions here. So of all the pros in the history of the show, oh no, actually we covered this already. Who would be the best judge? But we already like, or how about like I'm gonna change up the question here. So we mentioned Sharna, Cheryl, Mark, and Max. Okay, taking away those people, name like a pro from the past or present who hasn't been mentioned, right? Like, you haven't heard rumors. Who you think could be a good judge?
Maybe Lindsay Arnold. I know she obviously would have like a conflict of interest with Riley on the show, and Ezra, like she has a relationship with all of them already at this point. Like even Jenna is her best friend. But she also did, it's just like all these pros did reviews during the season. So I saw all of them and I would like watch and which ones I liked. And I liked her reviews during the season. One more option that comes to mind is Karina Smirnoff. I think she'd be a good one. Because she's like a Daniela. But I don't know how she would be judging, but like, I don't know. I know she knows the technique and the fundamentals like really good.
Actually, I really like that. Karina feels like super underrated. And her name kind of like ever since she left, years ago. I guess it had to do with her and Max being exes, and he stayed around. His brother came around. He fell in love with Peta. Maybe they kind of like threw her to the curb. But I felt like Karina during her time on the show was like so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's like such a hard one. Let's see if I can name someone. Every time I think of former pros to be judges, it's like the first person is Mark that I always think of like immediately. But I'm trying to think if there's someone else that could be kind of underrated. Oh, you know who I could actually see? Like she was a great dancer on the show, but she also has a great personality. She's kind of similar to a Lindsay from back in the day. Maybe like a Kim Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she could be a judge actually, because she could kind of be maybe kind of like a Mark. Where she knows all the stuff in terms of she knows how to critique and all the steps you have to do and all that stuff, but she has like a really good personality too. And now to go back to Lindsay too, I think that'll be an amazing choice, and she's one of the all-time fan favorites.
Exactly, yeah.
And to put her on there with with her sister on there, I think would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so last one here. So if you're ever to be a contestant on the show, I want you to pick a pro from the current cast, and then a former, pro that you would want to dance with.
I feel like this answer changes for me every single season. Like I have like a pro that I just want to be partners with, a new one every time. I feel like my most consistent answer is always going to be Val. I think I've always wanted to be his partner. If you were to ask me this season, I'd probably tell you Brandon, just because his personality's coming out more. And then former pro, I mean, can I just say that's Val? And then this current is Brandon?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, some good options there. I know that is like a question that, it does change a lot, the answers and stuff. I'm going to say from the current cast, it's hard. There's like a lot of great options. I'm kind of like stuck between like Jenna and Daniela. like it would just be obviously great to dance with either one. But I also feel in terms of like putting yourself in the best possible position to compete and win. I feel like they're arguably the top two maybe choreographers or the top two pros at putting their partners in the best position to succeed. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave that one as a tie. I feel like yeah, that would be great with either Daniela or Jenna. And then for like a past pro, I'm gonna go back to someone we just talked to. She's not, I mean, not talked about. She's not retired from the show, but she is not on it right now. I'll say Lindsay. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
she just seems like one of the best people you ever meet. Like I feel like she'll like make you feel welcome from day one, and you'll never really have like I don't know. You won't be nervous around her. You won't be like afraid of her, or you won't. I don't know. Like she just has that vibe that you just like would love to be around her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, D, any final thoughts you want to put out there? Dancing with the Stars? Or?
It was all for me.
Okay, now thanks for joining us today. Yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this Dancing with the Stars section of today's episode. All right, guys, so for the sports section on today's episode, I'm going to be, doing this idea I came up with. I'm not going to lie. The last couple of weeks, there hasn't really been much going on in sports that has encouraged me to want to talk about anything on the podcast, if that makes sense. But thankfully, this week I came up with an idea. So next week, next Wednesday, NFL free agency, in terms of, being able to talk to players, it opens up next Wednesday. So I thought it would be cool to play a little game today. I'm going to be doing something first with the Dolphins. You guys watching on YouTube, you see me wearing my Dolphin shirt here. Obviously, my favorite team in the world right there. For those of you that didn't know, but yeah, so I'm gonna be basically picking 5 free agents of the Dolphins, and for each guy, I'm gonna be putting them alongside other free agents, right, from other teams. So, for example, Javon Holland, right, he's a big name, the safety from the Dolphins. He's set, to become a free agent. Next to him, I'll put another, safety option within the free agent market, and then what I'm gonna do is pick which guy I'd prefer to have on the Dolphins, whether I want to bring back a certain guy or whether I'd rather have him replaced with another guy. So to start off with the Dolphins portion of this, sports section, I'm going to start off with the safety position. We have our 2 starting safeties from last year, Javon Holland, who I mentioned already, and Jordan Poyer. They're both going to be free agents. I'll start off with Jordan Poyer because I feel there's more to say about Javon Holland. So to talk about Poyer really quick. So Poyer, he had a great career in Buffalo. He, had a lot of successful years over there. He was a great leader and helped them, accomplish some great things. Then he came to Miami last offseason. We signed him to a 1-year deal worth a little bit over $2 million. Unfortunately, it was a complete disaster for the Dolphins. Poyer didn't really contribute to winning whatsoever. It's nothing against him. Perhaps he's just getting older. He is already in his 30s, and at the end of the day, certain guys, their bodies break down at different points and within their careers. And I just feel like, yeah, Poyer, I don't think it'd make any sense at all if the Dolphins were to bring him back. So yeah, I just wanted to cover him quickly. And then Javon Holland, who's the big name. The Dolphins drafted him 4 years ago as a 2nd-round pick. His first 3 years in the league were incredible. He was amazing. This past season, he very much digressed. His play on the field, he looked slower. His instincts, that he had before weren't there. His ability to lay down some big time hits was not there as well. And then now he recently started a podcast, and he's been talking about all this free agency stuff, and so within this last year for Javon Holland, it's been a huge shock for me, and I'm sure many Dolphin fans, around the world. First of all, with the season he had, and then to add on to not only his lack of progression right on the field, but also when you think of the injury history Javon's had, his knee, specifically his knee injury history, is kind of scary to want to commit a long-term deal to that type of player. So yeah, to start off with Javon, right? So Javon right now, like I have it on my phone. Shout out to spotrac.com, SPOTRAC. They have your complete list of free agents in the NFL this year. But another thing they have that I find really cool, I didn't know about till right before I started recording this episode, is that for most free agents, not every single one, but for most of like the higher profile names, I guess you could say, they have a projected estimate as to what they could receive in a new contract this free agency. Obviously, that's not exactly to a T, but it's a pretty good estimate, I would say. And right now, Spotrac has Javon Holland receiving a 4-year deal worth $72 million with an annual salary of $18 million per year. Oh no, annual salary of $15 million per year. And honestly, to me, that's way too much money. If he had played this past season as he did his first 3 years, honestly, I would be super open. I promise you, prior to this past season, I wanted the Dolphins to extend Holland already. Thankfully, they didn't, because it worked out. Because, like I said, unfortunately, his play really digressed, and his knee injury history really scares me. So yeah, he's projected, according to Spotrac, to get $15 million a year, around that range, on a 4-year deal. I wouldn't want to commit to Javon long term. So with that said, here's one of the free agent options that I was looking at. So Cameron Bynum, he's arguably one of the best safeties in all of football. He's projected to get a 4-year contract, $72 million, with about an annual salary of around $17 million. Obviously, it's a steep price. He's worth more than Javon Holland, and rightfully so, because Bynum this past season for Minnesota was one of the best safeties in the league, and he was one of the main reasons why Minnesota had one of the rare elite defenses throughout the whole season. So that's a name, obviously, that I would love to have here. I don't think it's a super realistic possibility due to the whole cap situation. And then it's like, wait, do you really want to commit all that money to him when you have already committed so much money to Tua, to Tyreek Hill, to Jalen Waddle, to Jalen Ramsey, and so it's tricky, right? Because then it's like, all right, so you just want to give all that money to one safety when you need two safeties. You're trying to find two starting safeties. So in terms of the money, I don't think this is going to happen. But I just wanted to put this guy's name out there because obviously I think he contribute greatly to the Dolphins. Now to move on to Poyer again, right? So as I said already, I don't think it'd make any sense in the world for the Dolphins to bring back Jordan Poyer. So for Poyer, I have two different safety options. We have Jeremy Chin, former first-round pick of the Carolina Panthers. Last offseason, he signed a 1-year deal with the Washington Commanders. And I believe he had, it led to sort of a resurgence in his career. In Carolina, he started good. But then towards the end, he kind of went downhill, and people were shocked, including me. I had a lot of high expectations for Jeremy Chin. And he goes to Washington last year. Obviously, their whole team had a complete turnaround, led by new head coach Dan Quinn and everyone else who joined the team. And Jeremy Chin, he did have a really solid year. And then you look at what Spotrac is projecting he'll get annually. He's projected to get $6 million annually on a 2-year deal. I think that's a hell of a bargain, and I think that would be one of the best under the radar deals in all of football. So I would really love to see the Dolphins go after Jeremy Chin. I think he'd be a great replacement for either Holland or Poyer, just to add him in for that value and also for the extra chip I believe that he has on his shoulder. I think people calling him out, and this past season he showed that he could still play. And I think going forward he's going to have that chip on his shoulder for the rest of his career. With that said, I do think the Commanders will retain Jeremy Chin. I don't see why they wouldn't. Especially with their trajectory right now, right, going upwards and stuff like that. But I would love to see the Dolphins show at least some interest in Jeremy Chin. And then another safety option for you, Ashton Davis. He's been on the New York Jets. There's no projected salary for him right now. Spotrac.com. He was previously earning, on his rookie deal, like $2 million a year. He spent the first 5 years of his career with the Jets. There's a lot of rumors that the Falcons may try to target Ashton Davis because the Jets interim coach from this past season, Jeff Ulbrich, he just joined the staff over there. And the Falcons are going to be in the market for safeties because I believe both of their starting safeties are going to be free agents. But Ashton Davis is a guy, I remember when he came out of California 5 years ago. I loved him. I loved what I saw from him in that draft on tape. And I thought it was a hell of a pick for the Jets. He hasn't become a full-time, safety that you start every single game. But I just feel he's one of those guys that you put him out there, he goes above and beyond. He kind of gives me a feel to Andrew Van Ginkel for, Dolphin fans that obviously remember Andrew Van Ginkel, who we loved here. Ashton Davis, I believe, is the same type of guy that you just put him out there, he's gonna go and do whatever you want him to do, and he's gonna go, he's gonna exceed expectations, go above and beyond. So yeah, those are a couple of safety options that I would love the Dolphins to test out once again. Cameron Bynum from the Minnesota Vikings. Then we have Jeremy Chin from the Washington Commanders, and then we have Ashton Davis from the New York Jets. Um, like I said, Bynum, obviously with the money he's gonna receive, it's gonna be very hard, especially with the Dolphins' tight salary cap situation right now. But I do believe Jeremy Chin and Ashton Davis are both realistic options for the Dolphins, and I would love for the team to go and see if they could try to bring those guys into Miami. And I think Anthony Weaver as well, the defensive coordinator, I think he'd really love to have Chin and Davis, because something with Chin as well, he kind of has a style where you could kind of implement him not only as safety but also kind of as like a safety linebacker type of hybrid thing. I believe he'll be super good as well if you want to do some safety blitz every once in a while. I think Jeremy Chin will be a great guy for that. And then Ashton Davis, I just feel if he gets a full opportunity to start as safety, for the whole season, I really think he's gonna prove a lot of people wrong. I think Ashton Davis could be a really good starting safety on a playoff caliber, type of team. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about, the safety options that I have for the Dolphins. If you guys have any other guys that you think the team should be interested in, let us know on Instagram at @theflame_ES. We'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, guys. So the next guy I want to talk about here is gonna, that the Dolphins actually cut was Raheem Mostert. He was our running back for the last couple of years. He did a tremendous job in his short time with the Finns, but unfortunately, the team has decided to move on. And now our running back department is officially led by Devon Achane, who just came off of an incredible sophomore season. He was arguably the best player on the Dolphins, in my opinion, this past season. And then we have Jalen Wright, who we drafted, last draft out of Tennessee. I would have loved to see a lot more of him in his rookie year, but ideally now going forward, it's looking like he could be the second option behind Achane, and he'll get a bigger role, hopefully going forward. So yeah, with Raheem, obviously going out, I think here are a couple of guys that I would love to see the Dolphins, be interested in. The first guy is Deontay Foreman. He's been in the league for around 7 or 8 years now, I want to say. He was great in Texas, in college. He's been on the Panthers, on, the Texans, on the Tennessee Titans. He was on the Browns last season. Deontay Foreman, one of the main reasons I would love to have him here is because with the decision to let go of Raheem, I believe the Dolphins now need to fill a void to get a big, powerful back that's able to, has that ability to break tackles and who's able to score for you in the goal line or in short yardage situations, able to get that first down for you. And I think that's something the Dolphins very much lacked in last year. I think we had one of the worst red zone, offenses in football, and specifically in short yardage situations, we were terrible. And something about Deontay Foreman that I've always loved is his ability to break tackles and his ability to keep running. He's under 6 feet tall. He's not the tallest guy, but he's super bulky, big arms, and he just runs super hard. And I feel like his style of play is exactly what I want to see the Dolphins get, because as much as I love Achane and Jalen Wright, first off with Achane, he hasn't, he's not that type of running back that's, he could break tackles here and there, but that's not his style of game, like that ground and pound. His main thing is his ability to cut, and once he turns on that turbo, he's, hard to stop. And then Jalen Wright, unfortunately, I don't really know if he could be that style of like breaking, tackles a lot, because as I said earlier, he didn't really get a lot of opportunities in his rookie season. So yeah, Deontay Foreman, I just feel like, yeah, the fit would be amazing, because he'll have that specific role, in my opinion, if the Dolphins do get him and do it the right way, that he'll kind of be the main guy we rely on in short yardage and in the red zone, to run in from the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, 3 yard line, 5 yard line, whatever it may be. From that short yardage angle, I think he'd be great. And I think it'd be a great change of pace, to have Achane alongside Foreman, because as I said, Achane's more of that speedster, and then Foreman's more of that ground and pound, bulky, wear out the defense type of back. And I feel the Dolphins are very much lacking that now with the decision to release Raheem Mostert. Then another guy, another under the radar type of guy. And for Foreman, by the way, Spotrac has him getting a contract of around $2 million a year. I think that's a hell of a bargain. So I wouldn't even hesitate to try to go get Deonta Foreman and bring him into Miami. Then the other guy I want to talk about, Julius Chestnut. He's most likely a name that most people have never heard unless you're a Tennessee Titans fan. He's been on the Titans for 3 years. He's mostly been a special teams guy. He hasn't really gotten an opportunity to be a true running back in the NFL yet. I thought this past season with the loss of Derrick Henry, I thought Chestnut would get more of a role. I really liked what I saw from him in the preseason last year. I even drafted him in my fantasy team. But yeah, Julius Chestnut, he's just from his short opportunities as a running back from what I've seen. He's similar to that Mostert, Foreman, Derrick Henry style where he's able to break a lot of tackles. He's a very bulky guy. He kind of gives me kind of like a Lendale White type of vibe. For those of you that do remember Lendale White, that's kind of who Julius Chestnut reminds me of. So I just feel just like Foreman that he could fill in that role of breaking tackles and wearing out the opponent, doing good in the red zone and short yardage situations as well. So yeah, remember those names, Deonta Foreman and Julius Chestnut. Those are two guys I would love to see the Finns try to get in and replace that ground and pound type of back that we lost with the decision to cut Raheem Mostert. And if you guys have any other free agent running back options that you like out there, make sure to hit us up as well at the flame_es on Instagram. We'd love to hear what you guys have to think. We'd love to hear if there are any other guys you guys are interested in the running back department for Miami. Just like Raheem Mostert, the other day we cut Durham Smythe, who was a tight end here for 6 years, I believe. He was here for a while. He was a super hard worker. He always gave it his all. With that said, I think it was the right decision, and I think it's a couple years late, in my opinion, on the Dolphins' part to let go of Smythe. Nothing against him. I just feel like we kind of had him here for too long, and it didn't really contribute to us winning more. And like I said, it's nothing against him, but I just feel like we kind of put him here most of the time. It kind of be like a main starting tight end, and that's not really his role at the end of the day. I feel like he's like a really good number 2 or 3 on like a playoff team. He's not a guy to be your number 1 tight end. So it's more of the Dolphins' fault rather than Smythe's fault. But, it is what it is. We move on. Obviously, we're coming off a season where Jonnu Smith, who we signed last offseason, he had arguably the greatest, season by a tight end in Dolphins history. With that said, now with Smythe officially cut, I do still think we need help, at the tight end position. It can't just be Jonnu Smith. We need other guys to help out as well, to help the rest of the team and to help Smith as well, right? Because now going into next year, you already know, starting from week 1, all these teams are going to be focused on Jonnu Smith, just like they're focused on Tyreek Hill. And so with that said, a guy I would love to bring in the tight end room. For those of you that don't know, the guy I'm going to say he's my favorite tight end of all time, former Dolphin himself, amazing player, arguably the best pass-catching tight end that I've ever seen, Mike Gesicki. He was on the Cincinnati Bengals last year, on the Patriots the year before, and all the years prior to that, he was a Miami Dolphin. As I said, he's my favorite tight end of all time. I'd be absolutely ecstatic if the Dolphins were to try to bring Gesicki back into Miami. Unfortunately, I don't think that's a possibility. I feel that Gesicki, he hasn't gotten a fair enough opportunity throughout his whole career in terms of getting consistent action on the field. I feel most of the coaches have just kind of thrown him to the side, and then when you do put him in, he does an incredible job. Then for the next 4 or 5 games, they don't really give him that same opportunity, so it's been kind of confusing. But that said, some credit should go to Zach Taylor and the offensive staff of the Bengals last season. I believe, I would say it was probably the most that Gesicki's been used in a very long time. And yeah, with that said, I think Gesicki, like I said, he's arguably the best pass-catching tight end in the league. And imagine pairing him up with a guy like Jonnu Smith. I just think that'd be incredible for the team. 2 mismatch targets right there. Even as I mentioned, how bad our red zone offense was when I was talking about the running backs earlier. Imagine having Mike Gesicki and Jonnu Smith as 2 weapons there in the red zone for Tua to throw the ball up to. And yeah, I just think, there's not much more to say. Most of us have seen what Gesicki could do. And just imagine him and Jonnu Smith being paired up. I just think that'd be incredible. And I think a move like that would really help the Dolphins go up another level in terms of overall team offense. And with that said, Spotrac right now has him projected to earn around a $6 million salary, which I think is an absolute bargain of a contract if Gesicki is to get that. So, I want Mike Gesicki back in Miami. Let's make it happen. Let's put it out there. let's manifest it. Bring Mike Gesicki home. Bring him back to being a Miami Dolphin. Let me know what you guys think about that. Perhaps there's some other tight end options you guys are interested in. Make sure to hit us up on Instagram and let us know at the flame_yes. I know a lot of you are obviously interested in, the Dolphins drafting a tight end. I know they met already with Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. I really like Mason Taylor out of LSU. I think he's going to be a hell of a player in the league. But obviously, this segment here is covering free agency and not the draft. So that's something to talk about on another day. But yeah, let's bring Mike Gesicki back home to Miami, man. So along with Raheem Mostert and Durham Smythe, who I mentioned already, the Dolphins also cut starting cornerback Kendall Fuller. We signed Fuller last offseason to a multi-year deal. So honestly, I was surprised that we decided to cut him after one season, after giving him multiple years last year. Doesn't really make sense to me. But that said, Fuller, it was a roller coaster type of year here. His first and only season as a Dolphin. When he was healthy and playing, I thought he did a really good job. I thought he complemented Jalen Ramsey really good as our second starting corner. With that said, unfortunately, he did suffer a series of injuries, including I believe 2 to 3 like concussions. So obviously it was like a tough season for Fuller overall. But I did like what I saw from him, from a productivity standpoint. With that said, he is 30 years old, so it would have been like kind of scary to have 2 30-something-year-old corners out there next season, especially with all the young, talented receivers in the league. At a certain point, these guys, start losing the speed. Their knees start, becoming weaker. So, with that said, now the Dolphins, they have a really big responsibility of, finding another starting corner. And with that said, as good as Jalen Ramsey is and has been, he is in his 30s already, like I mentioned. And, last season, I think we started to see the cracks, right, that come with age and so many years playing football in terms of Ramsey. And with that said, though, I'm going to name a couple of guys that I have in mind that I think would be some nice, solid options for the Dolphins. And something, before I get into each of these guys, something that stands out in terms of the whole age thing I was talking about with Ramsey and Fuller. These two guys are both in their 20s. One of them is 25. The other one is 26. And they both come from the Los Angeles Chargers. Asante Samuel Jr. To me, if the Dolphins are able to somehow bring in Asante Samuel Jr., the hometown guy actually, but we're able to bring him in, I'd just be so ecstatic. I think that'd be a home run signing, one of the best signings in recent memory for the Dolphins as a whole. Asante Samuel, one of the best young corners in the league. What I love about him, he's super aggressive. He has a very high IQ. He might not be the tallest guy, but for what he lacks in height, he makes up with everything else that he does on the football field. He's a winner. I just love the way that guy plays. He plays hard every single snap. So I think if the Dolphins are able to bring in Asante Samuel Jr., it'd be an absolute home run. And, finally be that next generation. Perhaps we could start, the next generation of cornerbacks in Miami, because we really don't know how long Jalen Ramsey actually has left. Not just in the NFL, but as a productive starting corner. So I feel it'd be super smart for the Dolphins to emphasize going young at the cornerback position. And now to switch to the other guy I have in mind, Samuel's teammate from the Chargers, Christian Fulton. And Christian Fulton, he was a first-round pick in 2020, I believe, out of UCLA. I remember watching him right in college. He hasn't turned out to be what I think a lot of people expected him to be, especially being a first-round pick. But with that said, he's only 26 years old. He's projected to earn a $3 million per year salary. So I think it'd be a big steal. And I think why not take a chance on a guy that's still in his 20s and who you could get for a single digit amount of money. All right, I think why not take a chance on him? And, I would love for the Dolphins to team up Fulton and Samuel in Miami. And as I mentioned, Fulton's projected to earn around $3 million a year on probably like a 2-year contract. And as far as for Samuel, he's projected to get like an $11.5 million a year contract, which I also think would be an absolute bargain and super a huge steal of a contract. So yeah, those are two guys that I would love for the Dolphins to look at in the cornerback position, specifically in the free agent market. As I mentioned with the tight end stuff, obviously we have the draft, and perhaps we could draft some of these guys, right, for the positions that we're in need of right now. But obviously this is a free agent segment, so I'm focusing on that for now. So yeah, Asante Samuel Jr. and Christian Fulton. And then to put in kind of as like an honorable mention, not to be a starting corner, but to kind of have as a depth piece, a solid veteran, Dane Jackson. He was on the Panthers last year. Previously, he spent time with the Buffalo Bills. As I said, I don't want him as like a starting corner, but as a depth piece. And, obviously depth is huge in general. And when you think of the Dolphins specifically these last 3 years with all the injuries we've had, I say get the most depth that you possibly can. So, yeah, Dane Jackson, honorable mention. But, yeah, guys, this is going to officially wrap up our sports segment for today's show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any thoughts on any of these positions or any other free agents you'd like the Dolphins to target, let us know on Instagram at @theflame_ES. We'd love to hear your opinion. But yeah, guys, now, with all that said, keep it locked in here on Instagram at @theflame_ES. Until next time, everyone, take care.